Before I introduce Chancellor Block, I wanted to provide just a couple of thoughts. Again, my name is Matt Collier. I was the senior advisor to Secretary McDonald and then Secretary Shulkin at the VA for strategic partnerships. And when I look back at where we were 3 years ago, I can't believe the difference and the progress that we've made. We've come a long way in a very short period of time. Frankly, 3 years ago, right after the lawsuit, it was pretty chaotic here. All the different groups, some people, folks in the community, some veterans in the community, UCLA, the VA, we just weren't on the same page. And one of the things that Bob McDonald asked me to do was to come out here and survey the situation. I live in Thousand Oaks and basically commuted between Thousand Oaks and Washington for 2.5 years, which is sort of the same amount of time I spend sometimes on the freeway here to go from Thousand Oaks to the UCLA, but that's a whole nother story. But I had a front row seat to what was happening here at this campus. And Bob said, he said, look, we can't do it alone. We're statutorily obligated to run these medical centers, to run our cemeteries, and the one right across the road here of the 134, these 166 medical centers, and to provide benefits. But he said there's a lot of other things like mental health, employment, homelessness that we can't do anything about. And he said the only way we could do something and make progress is to work together. And that's exactly what happened here. And this launch of the Wellness Center and the Legal Center is testimony to what a difference that can be made when people work together. Because if UCLA can't do it alone, the VA can't do it alone, government can't do it alone, different nonprofits can't do it alone, and community folks can't do it alone. But working together, we can do it. So for all of you that had anything to do with bringing this all together and bringing this the first glimpse, really, and a lot more, there's a lot more to come. For all of those that have had anything to do with it, let's give them all a big round of applause. I will tell you that this has become the model in the VA, and remember I said there's about 166 medical centers, but this has really become the model for collaboration for this kind of a campus. And that's saying something. This campus, and along with UCLA and this whole community, has come a very long way, and all the veterans that actually pushed for all this. In fact, I did want to mention you have a nice handout that talks about a lot of not only the two programs that we're launching today, but also a lot of the other programs that are going on. And believe me, there is a lot more to come. Now, Chancellor Block is a very modest man. He's very low-key, and he's probably going to be embarrassed by my introduction, but I'm going to say some nice things about him here. He's originally from Monticello, as opposed to Monticello, I checked, New York. He's got degrees from Stanford and the University of Oregon. He is the chief executive, as you all know, at UCLA. He oversees all aspects of the university's three-part mission of education, research, and service. He's called on UCLA to deepen its engagement with the Los Angeles community and to increase access for students from underrepresented populations. And that increased access and service component are evident right here. He's a distinguished professor of psychiatry and biobehavioral sciences in the David Geffen School of Medicine, and holds a joint faculty appointment in integrative biology and physiology in the UCLA College. He's an expert in neuroscience, and his research is focused on neurobiology of circadian rhythms, specifically the neuromechanisms by which organisms adjust sleep and wakefulness to the day and night cycle. Now here's where he's going to kill me. So prior to becoming the UCLA Chancellor in August of 2007, Chancellor Block served as the Vice President and Provost of the University of Virginia, where he was also the Alumni Council Thomas Jefferson Professor of Biology. And during his 29 years there, he served as Vice President for Research and Public Service and as Founding Director of the National Science Foundation and Technology Center in biological timing. Now, I only mention that because this year there was a Nobel Prize awarded to 3 men in physiology or medicine, Jeffrey Hall, Michael Rosbash, and Michael Young. And I'll read this from an article out of the University of Virginia. The trio were members of the National Science Foundation funded Center for Biological Timing, which was originated and headquartered at the University of Virginia between 1991 and 2002. The center's director was Gene Block, a former UVA provost and biology researcher who is now Chancellor of the University of California, Los Angeles. Block played a key role in gaining funding for the establishment of the center and bringing it to UVA. So let's give a big round of applause for Chancellor Block. Nothing happens around here. This wouldn't happen without the Chancellor's support, and I must add that he cares deeply about veterans. Chancellor?
Thank you, Matt. Of course, Matt didn't follow his own admonition about keeping it really short, so I'm embarrassed, but appreciate it. And thank you, and to all the veterans here today, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. And we're here because of you, and we're proud of that. So I want to acknowledge, of course, Congressman Ted Lieu, who's with us today, and also I want to acknowledge Senator Dianne Feinstein, because both helped with the West LA Leasing Act of 2016, which allows us to engage, I think, in this very meaningful relationship. And has really allowed UCLA, I think, to engage in ways that really are making us feel rather good about our public service. This is, you're our neighbor. This is one of the most important issues facing America, our veterans, and you're right here, we're right here. There's no reason why we can't grow together. Our relationship is old, about 70 years of collaboration. So there has been long-term collaboration between the VA and UCLA, but now it's growing, and it's growing really in qualitative and quantitative ways. And I think it will help better serve our veterans and their families. And as Matt said, hopefully it will become a national model for how VAs and communities, in this case UCLA community, can interact for the most productive manner. So UCLA's mission as a public university, and I always like to say we're a research university, and we compete with the very best privates in our scholarship, the quality of our students and what we do, but we also have a public mission. As Matt mentioned, it's in terms of access to our students. Our students come from all demographics, and we're very proud that we represent opportunity for talented students, whatever their financial background. But also, we're a public university in terms of our service. That we have to do more than just educate students on campus and perform research. We've got to reach out to the community. And this has been really, I think, one of the public service foci of UCLA that we're most proud of. And there's some new activities here that we're involved in, which you'll hear a little more about. We've launched 2 new centers. One is the Veterans Family Wellness Center, which really is addressing the unique needs of families, military families, and we just had a tour. It's very impressive. And the second is our legal clinic, which just opened up, which also upholds our UCLA teaching mission and is helpful for veterans with legal issues. So we're very proud of those. And we're about to open a new Center for Excellence. This is jointly with, of course, the VA to support veterans facing homelessness, mental health issues, and substance abuse. So there's a lot going on here with UCLA's engagement. We really want to do more. We want to find ways to really reach out actually throughout the country and help veterans, and we are thinking hard about how we can scale efforts to really extend what we do here, maybe even to a national model. So I'd like to thank VA's leadership, including the VA Greater Los Angeles Health Director, Ann Brown. Ann has been a great partner. This is hard work. She's got an amazingly tough job, and she's done it excellently, and also in collaboration with us. We're proud of that. Certainly VA Secretary Shulkin, we're very happy to be working with him, and Secretary McDonald, who really was from the very beginning committed to this campus and deeply attached to what we're doing here. So I want to thank all of them and their staff members. This has been a great experience for all of us. I'm proud to be part of this effort and look forward to years of productive interactions with the VA. So thank all of you. And I want to really thank Jon Varat, who's our liaison for UCLA. He's a veteran. You know, former law school dean, we pulled him out of retirement, and he has engaged in ways that are really, really dramatic, and we're so deeply appreciative. So I want to thank Jon. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chancellor. So the VA is the largest integrated health network in the country. And when you go onto a campus, when you go to a VA medical center, the most important person at that medical center is its medical center director. And when I came here 3 years ago and Bob McDonald had just started, it was clear that we needed somebody really, really good to come in and lead the team here at the West LA facility. And Ann Brown was handpicked from throughout the VA. She came over from Chicago running the medical center there. And she has been, just as the Chancellor mentioned, just a wonderful collaborator. And let me tell you that I think as the, responsible for all the partnerships, the most important thing in engaging in partnerships is trust. Trust is really the oxygen of partnerships. And Ann has provided that trust with UCLA and with the veteran community, with the civilian community, and with all the governmental entities. She's done a magnificent job. And I recall coming here, she had been in her chair for maybe a week or two. And I remember her asking Ann, I said, "How are you doing?" And she looked at me and she said, "I don't know." So I don't know if you remember that. There was a lot going on, but she knows what she's doing. Let me just give you a little bit about her background. She started February 7th here, 2016. She ran the Chicago VA facility, as I mentioned, the medical center in Martinburg, West Virginia as well. She has a bachelor's degree in finance from the University of Texas in Austin, a master's degree in health services administration from Trinity University in San Antonio. She's a fellow of the American College of Healthcare Executives. Please welcome Ann Brown, a consummate leader here.
And I still don't know how I'm doing, but I'm still here. So good afternoon. Is it afternoon? 4 more minutes. So good morning / afternoon, and thank you all for coming to celebrate the opening of these fine centers we're recognizing here today. I'll stick with the script. I have to say, since I've been here in LA as the director, I've seen such a willingness in the surrounding community, and that's what I was going to skip to. This really is about the community and how the community's coming together to support our veterans. But it's about the surrounding community to join our mission to care and honor our nation's heroes. And so when we host our town halls, and we've had a lot of town halls and there's even more to come, y'all show up. And when we're looking for input and for feedback on how we can use this amazing campus to serve our veterans, y'all show up. Y'all show up, and y'all show up, and y'all show up. And that is wonderful. That's how we're going to turn this wonderful campus into something truly, truly special with the assistance of our partners, and make this truly the diamond on the top of the VA. And so when we join together with our community partners to expand services offered to veterans right here on our campus, y'all show up. So I want to thank you for being here and for always showing up to share our mission. I want to thank Congressman Ted Lieu for your continued support of our healthcare system and our veterans. I'd also like to thank Chancellor Block and the many folks at UCLA that have helped us strengthen our partnership. And to Mr. Steve Young, VA's, you ready for this one? Going to have to write this down. VA's Deputy Undersecretary for Health, see, I can't even say it. VA's Deputy Undersecretary for Health for Operations and Management, AKA Dusham. Thank you for being here today to support the vision we have for this campus and our healthcare system. And of course, thank you to all of our great GLA staff that come to work each and every day and embody the noble mission of caring for our Los Angeles area veterans. We're working hard here at the VA West Los Angeles Medical Center to transform this campus into a vibrant, welcome veteran community. The draft master plan has paved the way for VA to increase its engagement and bolster strategic partnerships with community partners like UCLA. These partnerships enhance VA's efforts and ultimately the care and experience for our veterans. The VA UCLA Centers opening today exemplify leveraging partnerships rather than a single entity to solve a problem or accomplish a goal. The Veteran Family Wellness Center was developed to help tackle unique challenges that veterans face transitioning back into family life, including the challenges faced by the families of returning servicemen and women. The joint efforts utilizes both VA and UCLA's experts to ensure the needs of the veteran and their family are met. The center is unique to the GLA campus, and we hope it becomes a model for the rest of the country. The Veterans Legal Clinic addresses specific legal barriers veterans face, particularly our homeless veterans who are trying to obtain housing and benefits. We know the legal aid for our homeless veterans is a gap in our system, and that's why opening this clinic on this campus makes so much sense. Veterans who come from services have easy access to the center, and in many cases reduces the amount of time it takes to get them permanently housed. We're also excited to partner with UCLA on the new VA UCLA Center of Excellence in Veteran Homelessness and Recovery, or the COE for short. Through engagement with national experts like Director Sam Sabaris and our partners at UCLA, led by Peter Wybrow, the COE assesses evidence-based practices and through research and training develops new modalities for improving the physical and mental health of our veterans who are homelessness or at risk for homelessness. Through research and training development, the COE will ensure that our staff and our community partners have all the tools they need to provide the best care to our homeless veterans, and there's no better place than to start it right here at GLA. So again, thank you for always showing up. And because of partners like UCLA and everyone in our audience today, we are one step closer to making GLA a model for how to provide the care and services to our nation's heroes. Thank you.
Thanks, Ann. And while we're on the subject of showing up, would all veterans raise their hands, please? Let's give our veterans a big round of applause. Thank you for your service. So Ann already alluded to Steve Young as the, I have to look at it, Deputy Undersecretary for Health and see, there's a 4 there that screws you up, really. There's 2 4s. What the heck is that all about, Steve? We got to change that. Anyway, Dusham. Okay, we'll stick with that. But what does that mean? I mean, that's when you walk around the VA. When I went to the VA, I couldn't spell VA, but I went there and you see these titles, and it really is kind of confusing, to Ann's point. But look, he manages VA's nationwide healthcare delivery system, over 1,400 sites, 320,000 employees. How do you manage 320,000 employees? I'm not sure you do. $65 billion budget. He's been in the position since November 27th. I've gotten to know Steve. He's a great guy. He gets things done. That's why he's in that position. And if you can believe this, 40 years ago, he started out as a dishwasher in the cafeteria in Des Moines, Iowa. And he became the medical center in Salt Lake City, went up the ranks, and now he's, the man when it comes to operations and management for the VA health system. He's from Iowa originally. He's got a bachelor's degree in social work from the University of Iowa and a master's degree in public service management from DePaul. He's board certified in healthcare management and a fellow in the American College of Healthcare Executives. Please welcome Steve Young.
Well, it is good afternoon now. All right. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be back in Los Angeles. One of the things that was not part of my introduction is that I did get to spend a little bit of time here in Los Angeles a few years ago, which was a wonderful experience. It is wonderful to be back here, to be here on behalf of our Secretary of Veterans Affairs, David Shulkin, for this opportunity to open these very unique centers for veterans. I know that it took a lot of time and effort to get these enterprises to where they are today. This community partnership that has taken hold here in Los Angeles and the collaboration that is taking place between the Department of Veterans Affairs and our partners like UCLA are critical to our goal of transforming VA. Because VA can't do it alone. It takes an entire community to truly welcome veterans home. That's why VA leaders across the country are participating more actively in community-based efforts to maximize the collective impact of these partnerships, something that we know very well here in Los Angeles. And today we celebrate these partnerships and proudly show off the results of working together to address veteran challenges. To ensure the best care for veterans, Secretary Shulkin is working to enhance community partnerships to fill some of those service gaps we know exist in our current system. Legal problems ranging from restoration of driver's licenses to eviction proceedings, child support, and family law can often shape veterans' access to health care and their health outcomes. This is particularly true for our homeless veterans. Improving the overall care of veterans means understanding their experience and how seemingly minor problems can have compounding effects in all aspects of life. Some common examples: a homeless veteran who received a few minor traffic violations over time may not have the money to pay those fines, leading to outstanding warrants for seemingly small matters. This could make the difference in whether that veteran has access to housing or not. Or a homeless veteran who loses their ID and needs help regaining verification documents before any program will take them. By partnering with community, social, and civil legal services, the Veterans Health Administration is helping veterans work through their legal problems, and the UCLA Veterans Legal Clinic provides veterans access to the legal services they need to gain their benefits and, in many cases, end their homelessness. The Veteran Family Wellness Center, targeting the veteran and their family support system, gives Los Angeles veterans access to leading experts in both military to civilian transition and child and family wellness. The center couples this expertise with VA's experience in healthcare and reintegration to provide an endeavor that supports the whole veteran, leading to stronger family units and support systems. And finally, the Center of Excellence. We know that Los Angeles has the largest homeless veteran population in the nation. That means our responsibility to care for and house our brothers and sisters is that much more critical. Ending veteran homelessness is not one size fits all. The road to permanent housing takes different paths for every person. This Center of Excellence ensures that VA and community providers working with this population have all the tools they need to support veterans experiencing homelessness, whatever their path to housing may be. Leveraging the world's leading experts with focused research efforts is what has led VA to inventions like the nicotine patch, the CT scan, and implantable pacemaker. Did y'all know that VA invented all those things? It's VA that invented all of those things. That's why I know it's only a matter of time until we start seeing the diffusion of best practices and how to care for our homeless veterans coming from right here in LA with this partnership. So I'm proud to be here today representing Dr. Shulkin and VA, and I'm excited to take what is learned here to share this model that's created here on this campus with other VA healthcare systems throughout the country. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here and be a part of this celebration. Thank you.
Our next speaker is somebody, again, that you can count on. He's there always behind the scenes, diligently working to get stuff done in Washington. Without him, a lot of the things that you see around here wouldn't happen and wouldn't be happening in the future. He's worked, I'm talking about Congressman Ted Lieu. He worked closely with Secretary McDonald, with veterans and all the stakeholders to facilitate our new master plan. He worked tirelessly on that. With Senator Feinstein, he co-authored the West LA Leasing Act of 2016, which enables the VA to construct 1,200 units of permanent supportive housing for homeless veterans at West LA, and which offers veterans new robust services on the campus, such as vocational training, recreation, and spiritual support. He's also introduced two bills that were awarded a total of $70 million to GLA for seismic retrofitting on the campus. Now, passing a bill is just not easy. I mean, even the most simple bill that you think would make perfect sense for every American is somehow politicized. He's also happens to be the assistant whip for the Democratic caucus. And so he's had his hand in passing many bills, but it is very difficult. But look, Congressman Lieu just gets the job done. Without him, and like I said, this is a collaborative effort of all these different entities, whether it be from the community, from UCLA, from the VA, and from Congress and from government. Ted has always been there. Just a little bit about him. He was recently reelected to a second term this past year. He's on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He's on the House Judiciary Committee. As I mentioned, he's the Assistant Whip for the Democratic Caucus. He also happens to be a veteran. He's a former active duty officer in the Air Force as a colonel, and he's a colonel in the reserve station here in Los Angeles. So I want to welcome Congressman Lieu. He's been absolutely instrumental and key to the progress that we've made here in Los Angeles. Congressman?
Good afternoon. I'm so honored to be here with all of you. And let me first thank Secretary Young for taking time to come here from Washington, D.C. And please tell Secretary Shulkin we all appreciate his continued support of the West LA VA. And Chancellor Block, thank you for your leadership of UCLA. As you know, UCLA is one of the crown jewels of our nation, and I'm thrilled it's in this district, so thank you. And Director Brown, thank you for your leadership. As some of you may know, in under 2 years, Director Brown took the West LA VA Medical Center from a 1-star facility to a 3-star facility. That's impressive progress. So let me just ask a very basic question, which is, why do we support veterans? And for many of us, it's because it's the right thing to do. They risk their lives to help our nation, and they should be honored for their sacrifice. But it's also an issue of national security. When I served on active duty in the military in the 1990s, it was very clear to me we have the best military in the world. But that doesn't just happen. Every day, the military is trying to recruit the best and brightest in America. And when these young folks look at our nation and look at our military, if they see that we are not treating our veterans well, it may cause them to not want to join our all-volunteer military. And it's important that we continue not just to treat our active duty soldiers well, but also our veterans. And it is important to our national security. And for decades, this West LA VA was not living up to its promise. And then last year, with the help of all of you here, with Secretary McDonald working with stakeholders such as the law firm Munger, Tolles & Olson and ACLU and other veterans and settling a lawsuit, we turned the chapter. I was proud to have been able to co-author the law with Senator Feinstein that allowed the master plan to go forward. And today we are seeing exhibits 1, 2, and 3 of the remarkable progress that has been made here. The 3 centers that are having their grand opening, they are doing things that the VA cannot do. And the UCLA is doing this amazing thing that's helping veterans in a way that other VAs currently can't do. We hope it'll be a model in the future to replicate what's happening here. So I'm going to talk about 2 of those centers. One is their Family Wellness Center here. So the VA treats veterans, but they don't treat children of veterans or spouses of veterans who may be experiencing problems from the veteran having issues. And what this wellness center does is it's able to help children and spouses. And if you help the family, then that also ends up helping the veteran as well. And right now, if UCLA wasn't here doing this, they would not be treated. So thank you, UCLA, for doing that. And then the legal clinic I'm very excited about. It turns out that if you look at homeless veterans, a significant number of them are homeless because of legal issues. It's one reason that I have authored a bill that it is difficult to pass, so we keep trying, that will allow the VA to provide money to nonprofits or for-profits to provide pro bono legal services to veterans. But in the meantime, we have this fabulous legal clinic here where UCLA is going to be able to help veterans with legal issues. Again, it's something that the VA right now cannot do. And so it's very important to understand that what you're seeing here is this amazing partnership that is providing services to veterans in a way that is unique to this West LA VA, but that we hope to replicate in VAs in the future. And it's such an honor to be here. I have 3 certificates I'm going to present. I'm going to read them briefly and then present them all at once. The first is a certificate of commercial recognition to the Center of Excellence for Training and Research in Veteran Homelessness and Recovery. The second certificate is a congressional recognition for the Veterans Legal Clinic. And then the third one is a congressional certificate for the Veteran Family Wellness Center. So I will give those. Who do I give those to? Would like to come up? All right. So I'm going to present them now. Thank you.
Okay, and our final speaker, Jon Varat. Jon is a professor of law emeritus and a dean emeritus, and for those not academically oriented, that just means he was a professor here of law and the dean of the law school. He was, as the Chancellor alluded to, the Chancellor recalled him to be the go-between, the liaison, the chief liaison between UCLA and the VA. And he's done a masterful job. He's another very low-key, understated, modest person. He cares deeply for veterans. In fact, he is a veteran, and I want to read from his bio, which is kind of interesting, I thought. He was schooled in Philadelphia. He actually went to the University of Pennsylvania undergrad and got his law degree from the University of Pennsylvania before joining the faculty here, and he did a couple other things. But anyway, it says, Professor Varat was schooled in Philadelphia and spent a 2-year stint in the U.S. Army between his second and third years of law school in a variety of, quote, less than desirable locations. That's actually in his bio. We have to talk about those. I mean, we're talking about Fort Polk or what? Fort Sill, all of them. Whoa, some cynicism here. Okay. Anyway, thereafter he clerked for Judge Walter Mansfield in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit and Justice Byron White of the U.S. Supreme Court. So it's my pleasure to welcome Jon Varat. Jon has just been masterful. He's another one of those guys behind the scenes that just gets things done, and he does it in a way where people can go along and get along and collaborate. He makes it easy. He makes it look easy, but it has been alluded to several times here. These partnerships are difficult, and he's done a masterful job at putting this all together. Jon?
Thank you, Matt. If I break out into the caissons go rolling along, you'll know why. I have to repeat a few thanks here, just because they are so significant. I need to thank Congressman Lieu and Senator Feinstein in particular for their leadership of what was ultimately an overwhelmingly bipartisan effort to authorize the UCLA VA partnership in support of veteran welfare. This was a crucial thing, and in the end it was overwhelmingly bipartisan, but we all know that it takes a lot of work to do that. It takes a lot of leadership, and both of them really deserve our great thanks. I need to thank Chancellor Block for his unstinting commitment to making serving veterans a central priority of his administration at UCLA, and for allowing me to work with our veteran neighbors, VA neighbors, to bring UCLA expertise and resources to bear on these and other projects. I also want to thank the VA's new leadership, particularly Ann Brown and Heidi Marston. Where are you, Heidi? There you are. And their teams for working so collaboratively with me and the many, many UCLA folks from all parts of the UCLA community to make these and other joint projects a reality for the benefit of veterans. I want to thank community partners, including Village for Vets, who was contributing to the food we are all going to enjoy after this happens, and I'm mindful of the fact that I'm standing pretty much between you and food. And I also would be remiss if I didn't also thank all the UCLA leaders and staff from all over the campus who've been consistently supportive and hardworking to achieve what we celebrate today, and for their untiring support of my work. My job here is to provide a little more detail about the programs we celebrate today, although everybody else has done such a great job, it'll be easier now, and introduce the leaders of our three major new programs reflecting the implementation of Chancellor Block's commitments in the UCLA VA partnership. A few weeks ago, after the UCLA, or at the UCLA Veterans Day ceremony on our UCLA campus, a post 9/11 student veteran made the significant point that as good as it is to thank veterans for their service, it is even more important and better to engage veterans in their lives. That is what these veteran-centric efforts we announced today are designed to do. First, the Veteran Wellness Center, as you've heard, is designed for veterans and service members who are part of couples, families, or who have children or caregivers, to help strengthen their communication skills, manage emotions, understand combat stress reactions and deployment, physical and psychological wounds, and solve problems as family units. Operating under the auspices of the UCLA's Nathanson Family Resilience Center, 7 UCLA staff members plus some postdoctoral fellows, including 2 family trainers, postdoctoral fellows, a woman veteran specialist, a model supervisor, a family resource coordinator, and of course an executive director. These services are being provided in child and family-friendly space in the building behind us, tours of which are possible after the program and some refreshments. The Veteran Family Wellness Center also provides services remotely to veterans and families in their communities via technology that will be demonstrated after the program in the back. And in that, speaking of community partners, we are supported by the St. John's Hospital Community Impact Fund. The Veteran Family Wellness Center, as you've heard already, was largely developed by Dr. Patricia Lester. Dr. Lester, where are you? There you are. Could you give her? She is a UCLA professor of psychiatry and director of the Nathanson Family Resilience Center. Although these family resilience centers have not operated on VA sites before, they have a long track record of success, as they have operated in more than 20 military sites across the nation and the world, serving nearly 900,000 veteran service members and their families and caregivers. The executive director is Tess Banco. Yes? Among Tess's many accomplishments, she's a former Marine and military spouse with graduate degrees in social work and public administration, and she's doing just a fine job in leading this effort for the Veteran Family Wellness Center. The second center, as you have heard, is the UCLA School of Law Veterans Legal Clinic, and again, due to the commitments, financial and otherwise, made by the Chancellor, that has opened. And in that case, the Veterans Legal Clinic, under the supervision of 2 faculty co-directors, students are being taught how properly to represent veterans. The 2 supervisors are themselves veteran accredited attorneys, and the students, we hope over time, will be a larger and larger cadre of lawyers who will be able to successfully and effectively represent veterans in all the different needs that they might have. As you've heard, disability benefits are a significant part of the work of the center, and also minor citation offenses, which do tend to be barriers to housing and employment, are being dealt with. The Veterans Legal Clinic students are also, with the help of the co-directors, undertaking a needs assessment of the veteran community. We're here for the long term in all these programs. As you know, the 1,200 supportive housing units, permanent supportive housing units that will be built here above us, those units are going to house an awful lot of people who are going to create a real community, and that real community is going to, over time, need more and more assistance, both on the family side and on the legal side. And the more we train and represent, the better we are. So let me just introduce, unfortunately, for reasons that beyond her control. Our faculty director is Assistant Professor of Law, Sunita Patel. And Sunita came to us from American University College of Law in Washington, D.C. She's joined the UCLA Law School faculty, and she has made the transition, I would say, very effectively. She had to come here, pass the California bar, become part of the Veteran Accredited Attorney group, and teach classes. So we have kept her rather busy. The person who is with us here today is Will Watts. Will, where are you? There he is. Will is the co-director of the New Veterans Legal Services Clinical Program, and Will has a rather distinguished career. He's a Harvard Law School graduate. We'll forgive him for that. We call it the UCLA of the East. Will went to work for some time and became a partner at DLA Piper, a well-known law firm, private law firm, doing real estate transactions. Then he decided to become a public interest lawyer, and he joined public counsel here, and he became the supervising attorney of about 15 lawyers, as I understand it, of those who would provide homeless services for veterans and non-veterans, until we snatched him up and brought him over here as the co-director of this legal clinic, and he is very successfully leading our efforts here as well. And we are proud to announce that we have come to an excellent agreement about the Center of Excellence for training and research in veteran homelessness and recovery. I think I got that out without actually having to look at my notes. And we are very pleased that leading that effort will be Dr. Sam Semberis. Where are you, Sam? There he is, Sam Semberis over there. Sam is a clinical psychologist who is basically the developer of the Housing First model that is employed throughout the VA system. And Sam, it turns out, is also an extremely good person to work with. We've been working collaboratively, and he will be leading this effort on the VA side in particular. And it's important to understand that that Center of Excellence is going to help train into best practices and make the people who are the caregivers for our homeless veterans the best they possibly can be. Not only here on the campus, but reaching out into the community and working with other partners like the County of LA and others, and Sam will be leading that effort. Another part of that Center of Excellence will be the Research Division. The Research Division will be led by a faculty member of UCLA under the supervision of our very famous Dr. Peter Wybrow. Peter, I think I see you over there. Thank you. Dr. Wybrow pretty much heads everything involving psychiatry at UCLA. He heads the psychiatry department, he heads the Semel Institute, and of course he does his own research and is an incredible author as well. These folks will be available for a little bit in the way of questions afterwards for those who might be interested. I want to say that these efforts are obviously crucially important. I am a veteran myself, but I've seen and I've had the privilege of seeing over the last year and a half or so that the Chancellor's allowed me to do this job, how much our veterans both need and deserve. And we plan to do everything we can over time. As you can tell, these efforts are beginning, and the beginnings of these efforts are things that are going to last a long time. They couldn't have happened without the collaboration and cooperation of the VA and UCLA, and we are just thrilled, frankly. Matt said earlier that trust is the currency that allows partnerships to succeed. I couldn't agree more, and that's what's developed between us and gives us an opportunity to do many, many great things going forward. So thank you very much. And it's now my pleasure to introduce Jose Perez, who is someone who actually has received services under the model developed by Professor Lester and others for services to service members who involving their families and family strength. Welcome.
So I'll go ahead and put out something about me, and then I'll talk about Focus. Focus is a program that helped me out after I served almost 8 years of active duty. I got out of started school, Cal Poly, graduated from Cal Poly, civil engineer. And I was really trying to stay away from the VA. I heard all these horror stories, nothing negative, but I came across a flyer about FOCUS, which stands for Families Overcoming Under Stress. Through my active 30 years, I have 3 kids. I became very detached, and it was, I guess at the time, it was the most important thing in my life, my kids, and trying to make something happen. Something became your life, your identity. You've been serving, that's all you know. But if it wasn't for FOCUS and during sessions where you basically, something different, something totally different that I tried before, through every session, you're kind of building up stories. You're going back on, through deployment, my kids open up like never before. I got to learn things that I wish I knew, and it also opened my thinking on what they were going through. It took away a little bit of that selfish, that kind of like people owe me something and my kids owe me something, they better understand where I'm coming from. It put more of the perspective what they were coming from and what the attention have to be going to. So if it wasn't for FOCUS, I don't know where things will be now. It made a huge difference because I was having a lot of issues at the time. I was trying to make things happen at school. I was trying to identify myself again, but it helped me regroup. It helped me focus more. Yeah, the word focus. And I ended up applying for commissioning. I ended up commissioning the reserves now, Corps of Engineers. I graduated from school, and I now at this point in my life, after serving in the military, I am at a point that I'm 38 years old now, but I'm the best point in my life, meaning like everything seems to be going the right direction. My kids been living with me since then, and once again, I'm really grateful that I came across that flyer and people like Tom back there that will go to my house and help me out go through this. So once again, thank you again, and goodbye.
Thanks, Jose. It takes a lot of courage to come up here and talk about those kinds of things with the group. Thank you very much. So before we break, there are tours that will be available behind me on the 3rd floor of the Wellness Center, and then there's going to be some refreshments here behind you. But before we do that, in the spirit of recognizing folks, as John was just doing, a couple other folks. Norm Abrams is not here, I don't believe, today, but he was John's predecessor and did an unbelievable job at starting this whole initiative, the partnership initiative. You mentioned Heidi already. She's been here from the very beginning. She and her partner Vince Kane, who played a major role here for a couple years. And Kim Kovacs, I saw Kim. Kim, where are you? Right here. Let's give her a big round of applause from UCLA. She's since retired, but it's good to see you here, Kim. But those folks have all, and John Sharon, who's not here, all of those folks played a major role in planting the seeds to bear the fruit that we see today. And by the way, this is just the beginning. As was said, there's a lot more to come. So without further ado, we'll break. But before, just one reminder, all the speakers, would you stay here, please? And all the center directors, come on up for a few more pictures. But thank you, everybody. Let's keep up the good work.